Thank you for joining me on the channel, Mazarov, yada, yada, yada. This is going to be a part 2 for a question. I don't know if it's the final question, but it's definitely a fucking question. So I just was talking about in the previous reading that I put out. And it was a question that I was asking people like myself that have a slave complex about themselves. It's not necessarily that you are the victim, because the world won't allow you to be the victim. You just are what you are, which is a slave. Okay? But everything else, besides those that have been mixed with the blood of a slave, are free sons of God, made in God's image, made in angel images, have a God complex about themselves, sons of God, which is tied to wickedness in the world and white trash raining and all this other shit. But it brought me back to a dream that I had a long time ago, and I titled that reading on my first Mazarov channel, "A Third Time's a Charm." And it had something to do with my mother being in this night's club. And ironically, at that time, I was talking about this guy named Lewis, and Lewis energy died from Love and Hip Hop. Third season, fourth season, I think. Could Kiyata or something? I forget. I don't know his name. And I was also talking about trails, but more importantly, in that reading, or it was actually a dream of mine, it was me and my actual husband. My actual husband is a Capricorn, devil energy, whatever have you, but his number is like 1228. And 28 biblically has a lot to do with being fruitful and multiplying. But to me, when I laid down with him, we produced our children, so on and so forth. But his job was to go out, provide, so that way I could raise the children in a holy way and lead them in the correct way. All right. Now, here's the thing. What's my question? I forget. Oh, I want to talk about that. In that dream, third time's a charm. Me and my husband, Capricorn, we had a house, we had a home, and it was huge, but it was multi-levels. We had an upper level, we had a third floor, and we had a lower level. And I pretty much like to stay on the upper level, and sometimes I would peer down to look at the mid-level of the house. Sometimes I would be in the mid-level, but not necessarily. I pretty much like to stay on the higher level. All right. But my middle level was so vast of my house, and it was like all these stairs and all this shit. That for some reason, what it reminded me of, or the energies that I actually saw, was is it a train station in the movie Man in Black, where they have all those different creatures from all these different walks of life that are from all these different worlds, all these different space and times, whatever. And time is linear. Like, their time could be years in our past. It's a very strange concept. But anywho, I remember seeing all those creatures in my house, and they did not look like me or my husband, and it was our house. But I remember talking to my husband and telling my husband, in my dream, he was my partner. He wasn't necessarily my husband, because we were partnered for we were partnered for my protection, yes, and for his duty. Like, he was like the bodyguard, if you will. And I remember telling him in that dream, and I knew nothing. I promise you, I knew nothing about the story of Job. I knew nothing about how Satan classified himself, or how Satan described himself to God. I knew nothing of it. But you know, I take my word for it. It is what it is. In said dream, I had told my partner, I said, I don't want those monsters. I thought they were demons. I told him, I don't want those demons in my house. They look like alien monsters. White, black, or indifferent. White, purple, green, blue, all that different shit. I didn't want that shit in my house. Because it did not look like me. And this is what I told my husband. I said, I want you to get, because I had gave him the power and the freaking authority to get them demons out of my house. You know what my husband told me? My protector told me in that dream? He told me, it's okay. Them just passing through our house, our home. They're just passing through it. Now, if you don't know why that is so weird to me, and it just clicked, I guess, because Satan tells God that he's just passing through the world. He's roaming throughout it. That earth, that thing would have been someone's home. It was my home. Here's the thing. But my husband downplayed that energy being in our home. He had made a decision that he chose that roaming energy passing through, roaming. That shit dead. I don't know what it is. But he had chose that. And I remember being so mad that I had to take on attributes of a man. I started to provide, protect, take out the trash. I started to do things that were classified as manly. Because when I asked my quote unquote men to get rid of that energy passing throughout, roaming throughout my home, my house, it told me that it's no big deal because it's not here to stay forever. But one day is too long to have that energy in your house. It's one day, 20 minutes, 30 seconds, it doesn't matter. It's way too long. So I remember there was this point in the dream where I saw this white woman. She had red hair. And I remember seeing her, and she was in this different world, but she was outside. She was an outsider of my said house. But it had something to do with like carcasses. I kid you not, because she was at a car shop, but she was like white trash. She was like white trash at a car shop. But I saw that she was free. And she could just be out, and she didn't have to be stuck to a seat, to a house, watching over energies that are roaming, passing throughout your house. So I took that opportunity. I became smaller, impacted like trash, a carcass, just so I could not have to witness, one, the betrayal of my partner, my protector, my husband. Two, so that way I would not have to see that energy, those demons passing throughout my home. I traded places with her, but she and then traded places with me. But here's the thing. My husband stayed where he was in the house. He stayed. He did not follow me. He did not chase me. He did not. And he got with that white woman who was just trash. And you know what? Those demons that were passing throughout the house loved her. But they hated me. They loved her because she accepted them and everything that they were. They hated me because I will not accept something strange, unfamiliar and demonic in my house or in my presence. I will not lay down. I will not endure demonic. I will not house, home, or have that. But she would. And my husband would. But see, my husband, he likes to keep his distance. You see, he likes to keep his distance, turn the other cheek, not really be violent, put his foot down, or aggressive with that said energy. Even though he had the power to do it. He had the power to do it. Not only did he have the power to do it, he had the ability. He knew how to do it. He knew how to open any door, shut any door, so that way no one could come in or leave ever again. But he decided not to. At the cost of his own actual wife and family. He chose demons passing throughout the house or home. Not for a test of me, not for a test of you, but just to prove, just because he was lazy. He didn't care. It wasn't a big deal. Because he's like, I know how to stay away from it. I don't want to even entertain it. I don't want to have to stay away from it. That defeats the purpose. To my husband, at the time, I couldn't get him to understand. It's like having a complete stranger with foul intent in your studio apartment. And you're there with your partner and your child. And you got somebody roaming around in the fucking shadows that don't really want to be seen by you or caught or captured. They want to remain free. So they can roam and pass throughout your house however they want. And I didn't want that. But my husband ended up being with that white woman. And yeah, it was like he just totally forgot all about me. Because when we switched places, he still was technically married. It's just that white woman did not encompass my soul, my spirit. None of that. It was like a wife swap. But she was submissive. But she had ulterior motives. She never wanted to be white trash. She never just wanted to be a carcass. She never wanted to have to be a man and take care of herself. She never wanted to have to do that. I never was supposed to. She always was. But because my husband wanted to turn another cheek and all this, I had to suffer. I had to try to find a way out from my seat. And my husband never came for me. In real life, very similar. Very similar. But life is but a dream. My question? I can't remember. I just thought it was fascinating. Trying to think. I know I had a question. When the burning bush spoke to Moses, but Moses had the color of a slave, but it couldn't be white because he thought once that he had leprosy. Sabrina. He thought once that his hands turned white as snow, and he was cursed. That God talked to that thing slave that was accepted by a son of God, a Pharaoh, when there was wickedness in the world. And that God told him what, you guys? I don't want no God before me. Before. Now I have 4C here. I even have 4B here. Or B4 here. Because my hair type is 4B or 4C. But that God told it what? It told that slave what? I don't want no gods before me. I don't want you worshiping no gods before me. It would have been what? It would have been new. It would have just got there, got a seat of power. In Moses' life, a slave's life. And it would have gave it weapons of mass fucking destruction. To rape and village and pillage homes of people like itself or not. And it would have took Moses' first religion or faith away from it. So that way it would know or remember after so many generations. Its language, its people, where it come from, who it worshipped, or even how to connect. Because a new God emerged on the block and said, no one before me. And Moses started whooped, passing through someone's house or home, moving in the shadows, being unseen, doing negativity. They say Jesus stands next to Ishtar. Certain days ceremonially. For Easter. His story is written in the stars. Mazarov. The only star I know is Ishtar. And ain't Jewish. They just want to be a little bit of both. Who did Adam lay down with when he created the heart beat? Who did he lay down with? Instead of some God adorning itself with gold, teaching people that you can put gold on buildings. There was no building. Excuse my face. There was no building. It just was. But isn't that fascinating, you guys? I don't know. That was interesting. I don't want you to have no wooden idols. And I don't want you to have no gods before me. It's like, I'm going to take your name away and give you a new name. It is your American name? I don't know. My new name was Slave. And it was solely based off the color of my skin. My skin is an organ. And my organ has this thing called a melanin flowing throughout it. I can't help that there is a mel in my organ shielding my vital body, my soul body, my spiritual body. I can't help that. And I cannot help that your organ does not have that same mel in it. I don't know who you're protecting. I'm just bothered that my protector has the authority to do. And it just ain't on it. But that's all I got, because I'm pretty sweaty, as you guys saw. So Godspeed. God bless. Bye.